Instacart wants to gamify omni-channel shopping. According to Grocery Dive, a demo of Instacart's Keeper Cart at the National Retail Federation's Big Show conference in New York City showed off the option for a consumer to spin a virtual wheel on the smart cart screen for the chance to win a prize. Oh my God, I almost can't read this with a straight face. Doing so resulted in a reward of $2 off, along with a message that said, spin for another discount next time you shop with a Caper Cart. Exclamation point too. Using the cart's location sensors and in-store navigation maps, Vice President and General Manager of Instacart's Connected Stores, David McIntosh, said Instacart can envision giving shoppers a challenge to find and scan certain products or types of products in various aisles. Quote, ultimately, where we want to go is to take this to Pokemon Go. Or actually, let me rephrase that because I want to make sure I got that right. He said, quote, ultimately, where we want to take it is Pokemon Go, end quote. So, Ben, do you believe in the concept of gamifying the in-store shopping experience as Instacart is envisioning it?
Brilliant. I'm gonna answer it with a slightly different question.
Okay.
So the first question that I would pose is, like, do you believe that there's going to be a whole wave of activity over the coming months into the next year, which is all about the digitization of the physical store? And for me, I think that's a huge yes. And why? I think it's because it's going to be funded by attempts to bring retail media offline into stores. The in-store foot traffic, the opportunity to monetize it is just too great to resist. We just had a long conversation earlier about the 0.3% margin from self-checkouts, when you could be making 25% plus margins off retail media. So therefore, you could expect to see more tests, more trials, more rollout from like a whole suite of in-store tech that will be there to try and unlock those media dollars, whilst also figuring out which ones to drive efficiency and ultimately which get customer adoption. So whether it's ESLs or in-store screens or smart carts with screens, more of this will be coming. So if you buy into that hypothesis, I do, feel free to disagree.
Yeah.
The next logical step is kind of some of these like next gen of digital approaches to demand creation will be utilized on those screens. So if advertising platforms are using things like gamification, influencer videos, short-term discounts, if those are becoming more established, then they're absolutely going to be used on an in-store environment. It's kind of wildly too early to know which of them customers are actually going to adopt. But, look, there's been some incredible numbers shared this week about the amount that Temu is spending on advertising, its growth. And as sort of that Temoification continues, gamification is a huge element of this. So, look, is this going to be the bit that sticks? I don't know. Will we see more of this? 100%, I think so.
Interesting. Yeah, those are really compelling points. Anne, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I have my notes similar to what Ben said. I mean, this is something that Temu and Starbucks have been doing for ages, and it's not a new concept. It's definitely something that can get
via mobile
engaged.
phone though as well. I mean,
well, that's my key point here. So
right?
I think this makes sense. The ads getting served up, like once you put things in the carts, that's great. Retail media that Ben's talking about on the cart makes sense. You better do something to pay off the carts. You better do something to get the ROI from investing in those carts. So they need to have something on there. But the key thing for this strategy to be successful is that it cannot just be on the cart. It has to be something that's omni-channel, that's on somebody's phone, that's on the cart, that's all syncing up with me as a consumer so that I can play that game. I can spin that wheel, whether I'm at home planning to head to the grocery store or I'm in the store using my Caper Cart for the shopping experience. And the last thing is the Pokemon Go bit, I think is fine, but there still are no seats for the kids on these smart carts. So before you start talking about kids playing this Pokemon Go game in the grocery store, I hate to break it to you, but it's not going to be on the Caper Cart.
Right.
And
they can still play it on they can still play it on a mobile phone too, right? Like in theory,
mobile phone,
like you don't need a cart to gamify the situation. No. Yeah. So I'm going to surprise you guys a little bit on this one. I think like as a concept, gamification, I'm actually I'm kind of big on it, you know?
Yeah.
And this is something, and you might remember this. We thought a lot about this at Store of the Future
Mhm.
at Target. It was definitely on my roadmap, but I would put it in the next category, in the now next future of
Yeah.
omni-channel store development. I wouldn't put it on the now. Going back to what we started this show with, like, where would I invest in the show me the money things now? This wouldn't be it. You know, in general, I like gamification because, you know, anything that allows my customers to linger in my store for longer, particularly like you said, Ann, if they have kids with them, you know, there's a win. There's a lot of wins from being able to figure that out. But the form factor of it being on the cart, my hunch is that it's not likely there yet, and it's not likely going to be there anytime soon. So while I'm pro gamification, I wouldn't spend my money on this idea. I wouldn't get hooked on Instacart's flashy PR on this right now. I'd just be serving up, if I'm going to do the cart at all, I'd just be serving up straight coupons and discounts via the screens to first understand if the investment thesis and retail media thesis even plays out. Like this is like far-flung idea that doesn't need to happen right now, I don't believe, or go the mobile phone. Ben, what do you think?
I think back, 18 months. So Grocery Shop 22 is when Instacart launched their connected store proposition. And I remember conversations at the time around what gives Instacart a right to play in the physical store. I think by utilizing all their e-commerce knowledge, there's some really interesting stuff starting to happen. I mean, your old colleague, our communal friend Carter Jensen, was talking about the amount of data that they are getting from the trial of retail media on the Caper Cart, just in Bristol Farms, is incredible. Now, how you activate on it and how you action it is the next thing, but it's really interesting. So we. You mentioned David McIntosh in the introductory piece. We're really intrigued about where this is going. So we've invited Dave to come and join us in Barcelona for Shop Talk Europe. He's going to come on stage.
Oh, wow.
So in June, so it's our 5 months' time, we're going to get a little bit of feedback about where this is all going and how is the customer responding to these new things that are being put in front of them. And I think that'll be absolutely fascinating.
Wow. Absolutely, 100%. I
That's
can't
a
wait
good
to see
drop. Yeah, I'm excited, even more excited.